Hey everyone, it's Julian, and today we are back for some more card reveals. We have a lot of fun cards to talk about today, a good amount of legendaries, and some other bronzes and silvers. So let's get right into it, but before we do, I just want to say these videos have been doing really well. I really appreciate all of the support and the likes and the new subscribers. It's really awesome to me. If you're liking the content, make sure to like and subscribe. And I do also just want to say before we get into this card review, all of these card reviews are for fun. They're not really taken to be serious, right? I'm just sort of giving my own thoughts on the cards. So I don't really want people to sort of take them seriously. And obviously it's funny when we look back on them and I'm wrong, right? We don't talk about when I'm right, but but I am wrong a lot of the times, right? So it's just for fun. It's not really supposed to be a serious thing, but I hope you guys enjoy them. So let's get into it here. We're going to be talking about the Portal Legendary first that I missed yesterday. It is a 3-drop 2/4 Axia Air of Destruction. Again, for Portal, it's going to have Ward and can't be destroyed by abilities. And then on Super Evolve, you're going to deal X damage to the enemy leader. X is equal to the number of other allied cards on the field. Then destroy all other allied cards on the field. So I actually, the more I think about this card, really like it. You can obviously play it out early as a tempo ward. And it's a nice statted ward as well. It's a 2/4. Can't be destroyed by abilities. That's not going to come up a ton because that does still mean it can be killed by ability damage, right? So a card like Valse will still be able to kill it. At least that's how it worked in the original game. And obviously, again, hopefully we're going to get some of those Servant of Destructions and stuff like that to be able to draw into our stuff and use this can't be destroyed ability on things that we need to destroy, right? So really hope we see that in the bronzes and silvers. But then we see the Super Evo, and the Super Evo is very interesting. I think first glance it looks a little weak, but I think when you think about the style of deck this is going to be in, I think this is obviously going to pair very well with Lashena, because when you get one of the Testaments out, and even if you're able to evolve Lashena twice and get 2 of them out, every time one of those things is destroyed, you're going to get a proc of either heal or a deal damage, right? So a lot of the times you're going to be able to maybe get minimum is like 4 damage on this card if you fill your board, right? But if you have 2 of those Testaments out that are the damage ones, you're going to be able to get 6 damage. And also if you Super Evo and swing into something, you're going to be able to get 7. And obviously we're most likely going to be combining this with a Puppet package. It's most likely going to be some of these destruction cards in the Puppet deck. So I really like the idea of this. Is it amazing? No, I don't think this is like, blow your socks off insane. But I do think it's a card that lets us not have to draw 2 Orcuses or even 3 sometimes, right, to win games. I do wish this would have said normal evolve. Maybe that would have been a lot of damage, a lot too much damage, but it is sort of a combo type card. You do need puppets and other things as well for this to not be terrible, right? You don't want to be blowing up your own board. But yeah, I like the idea of this card. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and how this new Destruction Portal plays out. And it's one of the archetypes I'm most excited for, so I will be trying it when it comes out. Then we have 3 low rarity Haven cards. The first one is Saint's Flash, 4-drop bronze Haven spell. On play, deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. Really nice AoE, right? On that turn 4 play is really important because a lot of decks don't have good turn 4 plays right now, especially if you're going first and you don't have access to those Evo points, and you're having another AoE right before your next AoE in the Solidify. So I really, really like this card just baseline, but then we get the enhanced 8 draw 3 cards, heal 3 to your leader. I think that this section of the card is going to come up not a ton, but we are playing this in a pretty hard controlled deck, and just having more options for card draws and stuff like that is really nice. As I've seen, and we'll kind of talk about it once we've talked about the next 2 Haven cards, but I do think there might be a path for this Don't Attack Haven, this Repose Haven. this is the type of card that is really necessary for a card like that, right? Or a deck like that, right? Because you want Marwyn to be trying to do 5 damage every turn. And having AoE cards like this, obviously Solidify, obviously the Holy Grail and John and stuff, is going to make it really easy for you to be able to pass and deal that 5 damage with Marwyn's effect. So we'll see how that plays out. Next card is Supplicant of Repose. 3-drop 1/4 ward. On play, you're going to gain her crest. And the crest is at the end of your turn. If allied followers didn't attack this turn, restore 1 defense to your leader. One sort of thing I want to stop down on and talk about is it'll be interesting to test when we get into the game how this didn't attack thing worked. I believe in the original game, I haven't played with these type of cards in a really long time, but the way it works was it checks the cards that are on the field if they have attacked or not at the time of the end turn, right? So if you have like a little guy that's just on the field that you want to swing into in trade, you can still do that and get all of these effects. We'll have to see how that works. I hope that's how it works. I think that would make this archetype more interesting than just sort of playing card pass, right? But I do think, this archetype is maybe coming together a little bit, and I think this card is going to be a nice role player for that. You want to get as many crests as possible, and as many cards that give you crests as possible, and I really like that this is just on play, and you don't have to Evo or anything for this card. So, Supplicant, pretty good. The last card we have is a really interesting one. It is basically old Beast Call Aria. It's a 3-drop amulet, countdown 3. Last word, summon a Holy Falcon and Holy Flame Tiger, and then you can engage 1 to advance this amulet's count by 1. It's very interesting. They printed this card after printing Beast Call Aria, basically, but she just summons the Tiger. But this card is very good. Beast Call Aria is always, those type of cards are always really good. This is going to get you 2 bodies, and you can still get it out fairly early with the engage effect. And it's going to help Stormhaven really have some more storm damage in the end game. So I really like this. And also, obviously, the Tigers now have Rush, so you're going to be able to clear some more boards and stuff like that. So really like the Winged Lion statue. Maybe we see some more Lion Haven stuff in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. We already talked about that. So those were all the Haven low rarity cards. Again, I'm more interested in Haven. I think its biggest downside is going to be the fact that it's a control deck that has to play into the best control deck in the game in Rune. But, hopefully it can have some play into the meta. Next, we're going to talk about a neutral gold. And this gold is really interesting. I believe this maybe it is just a completely random character, but this might have something to do with Gilneas. I hope not, because I think this card has a lot of text that I don't want cards to have, right? So 3-drop 3/1 activates in your hand. Whenever an enemy follower super evolves, give this follower Storm, and then she's going to have Rush. This card is a little frustrating to me. I don't love these type of designs where your opponent, if you are playing the Courage Barrier, or Courage Bearer, your opponent has no way of knowing if they have it or not. It's very similar to Bale. And you theoretically could play around Super Evoing or not Super Evoing if you knew they had it in hand. But since you don't, it's just like you just don't do anything different. You're just going to play to your game plan, right? It does have Rush, which I really like. But I almost would have rather this read something like post Super Evolves or 2 turns after Super Evolves, this card has Storm. Because I don't like that if you draw it later, but after all of the Super Evos are gone from your opponent's side, it's a really weak card, especially in the late game. But overall, what decks can play this? I do think Sword is one of the best decks to play this. Getting extra storm damage like that is really nice. They're already playing Odin. This is 1 damage less than Odin. Obviously, Odin, of course, has the removal tied into him. But having more storm damage like this is really strong. Could even see it in something like Aggro Abyss, or maybe just sort of a more aggro-leaning mid-range Abyss. But we will have to see. Next card we have here is the new Heir to Disdain. Azdrafrit. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but he is a 9-mana 5/7 legendary dragon follower. On play, he's going to deal 2 damage to all followers, that includes himself, 3 times. So that'll basically take him down to 1 health. And he has Ward. And then whenever this follower takes damage but isn't destroyed on your turn, deal 1 damage to the enemy leader. And on Super Evolve, he's going to restore himself fully and do the same effect, 2 damage 3 times for a total of 6 damage. The cool thing about this card is when you Super Evolve him, he will not be taking damage from his own effects, but he will still deal the damage from taking damage. So all in all, this card is basically going to be doing 6 damage on a Super Evolve on 9. How good is that? It's kind of a wait-and-see situation, in my opinion. I think that if all of the Disdain stuff is good enough, obviously you can still use Gamu's zero-cost token with this card. I think that it could be really strong, but that's only if there's a reason to play all this disdainful stuff. I think that overall this card is just worse than Twilight Dragon. Twilight Dragon does not require a Evolve or Super Evolve or anything, and it just gets its full value immediately. Obviously, you can Super Evolve to draw 3 cards, but the AoE aspect is really nice and be able to save your Evo points for cards that really need it. So, overall, I think Heir to Disdain is a little bit on the weaker side, but I would be interested to see how some Dragon players can cook this card up, but I am not super confident about Azdrafrit. So next, we have the last card for tonight, Octrice Hollow Manifest. This, of course, is the iconic original Sword Omen, and she's really interesting, and there's a lot to talk about here. So on play, she's going to be a 3-drop 3/3, and she's going to give you the Octrice Crest. And then on Evolve, she's going to give you a blade and a necklace into your hand. Those are 2 of the better cards. I do think the Goblet now, the heal one, is the best one. So these are basically the last 2 ones. I don't know. The necklace, is the necklace worse than the boots? Maybe now that boots give you an attack, maybe the boots are better. So this is kind of like a mix of value for the loot you get. But the crest is countdown 8. Whenever you play a loot card or fuse a loot card to a card, advance the count of this crest by 1. And then last words, you're going to put a Remnant of Hollowness into your hand. And the Remnant of Hollowness is a 1-drop token that's going to deal 4 damage split between all enemies. So this basically says once you clear the board, you deal 4 damage for 1 mana. How good is this? I think this is a really interesting card. Sword is lacking for good tempo, proactive turn 3 plays, right? And the designer combo they want you to do is go Cicero, combine a bunch of stuff into him, and then get the Hollow by turn 7, or maybe even turn 8. And then you go Cicero, Super Evolve, and then play the token, and you deal 12 face damage total. That is a lot of face damage, and I do think that will be pretty good if we get enough loot generators. But I do just like how she is basically a 3-drop 3/3 that eventually is going to draw you a card. And even if you're not winning the game with that card, 1 mana deal 4 damage is still a really strong card. So I really like the design of this. I also like that it doesn't super reward you for like drawing 3 of these cards in a row. It is weaker. The second and third version of this card are weaker, but I do like that you don't get like super high roll, but like, whoop, my opponent drew 3 Octrices, and eventually he's going to get 3 Hollow Remnants, or Hollow Manifests, and or what is it called? It is Remnant of Hollowness, yeah. So, overall, I do think this card is very strong, and I think it will see play. I think this is sort of the glue that holds all of this usurpation stuff together. And yeah, that is going to be the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What card was your favorite? I do think my favorite was Octrice, and I'm really excited to try her. It'd be kind of cool if she got the animated card, but I don't know. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. It is very, very late right now. I am basically about to pass out, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.